control in my hand, feeling the adrenaline as I take command, tearing through the levels, leaving no one unscathed. I'm the king of the game and I won't be swayed, but there's something that I need, something to push me higher. Talk show Chris Collins and HenricK, they're on fire. They're watching all the rage quitters, exposing them with pain. They keep gaming real, that's why they get all my respect from me. Rage quit, Chris and HenricK, don't you ever stop. You're the voice of the gamers, splittering rage quitters on the spot. We do it in laughter, you're the champions we need. Rage quit, Chris and HenricK, you're the heroes of the gaming breed. Turn around the video game mayhem. Chris Collins and HenricK, the rack bring the chaos. Gaming news and industry talk, they got it all. Rage quitting, head banging, it's a metal brawl. Mental meltdown, gaming in flames. Chris and HenricK bringing the thunderous rage. Video games and viral content, they're the kings, ripping through pixels, the ultimate gamer getaway. The ultimate. Game over, I'm feeling the rage. Chris Collins and HenricK on the stage, talking gaming news, industry they can't escape. Reviewing video games, no need to debate. They bring the heat, spitting truth non-stop with fiery words. They're ready to drop, making waves in the world of video games. Collins and HenricK, they don't play no games. From console wars to DLC scales, they expose it all, making sure no one jails. The audience fired up, ready to explode. When rage quits on, you know it's a code.
What's raging, gamers? Welcome to Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. How you doing, HenricK the Wreck?
What can I say, Chris? It's Wednesday. I'm here with the boys, and it's time to rage.
It's time to rage, man. We're here to talk about all things gaming, and I know last night definitely set the mood for a lot of people all across the country, but we're here to kind of lighten the mood a lot bit. You know, got to give props to some of those guys. You know, some of the technology out there is pretty intense. You know, I saw a lot of really pretty maps on a lot of these, national media, out there. And, some of these people, they're pretty good, darn good. They might be video gamers, after all.
I mean, games, maybe they should take some notes for their in-game maps.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know. You tell me about it. I mean, some of these guys, they didn't really care to see them check out their Excel sheets when they were popping them up on the big screens. But, those maps, quite intriguing. But, hey, that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about gaming news, industry talk, and so much more. And we can't thank you, the gamers, for always joining us live every Wednesday night at 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, because without your guys' support, this show would not be possible. So we always like to start off the show with the bang and show you guys a lot of viral content that is circulating all across the World Wide Web. So let's go ahead and let's get it. A viral clip has taken the internet by storm, showing two gamers playing Call of Duty Zombies who go on a full-on chaos mode, acting like they are the official voice actors. It's like they took one too many energy drinks and decided to just method act their way through the apocalypse. And you would understand when you get to this kind of ranking or this kind of round in Call of Duty Zombies.
Oh fuck, no, that's the worst decision you could ever make. Right now, that's the worst decision you can make. Just get in the elevator. Go, get it, go. Hurry!
You know, that elevator, I had a moment very similar to this the first night playing Zombies with the boys. We hop into that elevator, the whole horde just coming. I'm like, you know what? I think it's chopper gunner time.
Yeah, I didn't know Tom Hardy
in the middle of that.
Yeah, right.
I came back to my boys being dead instead.
Well, who knew that Tom Hardy and Venom were actually going to make an appearance in this game? I mean, that is just insane.
Yeah.
How intense it can get and amplify so quickly in this new zombie mode. But let's go ahead and check out the comments, because that ain't acting, bro. That's genuine fear.
Yeah, really.
Have you been experiencing that?
The compilation of gamers actually being scared.
Yeah, no, you gotta love it. I mean, that means it's a success, or is it not?
Yeah.
Maybe we will explore that later on in today's show. The way he screams when the zombie grabs him gets me every time. Yeah, that's so freaking true.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got to be pretty nice to be able to have your own space where you can just scream out into the world of existence without even having to worry about, maybe banging the walls or, annoying your, your neighbor
Downstairs
upstairs. Yeah, or downstairs. And I think bro wasn't laughing because it was funny, but it was a laugh of a broken man who can only laugh as coping mechanism as he witnessed his lifelong friend get mauled in front of him.
Yeah, it's very true. You know, what can you do except move on or maybe laugh a little bit?
So you're saying we find out who our true friends are through a matchmaking of Call of Duty Zombies. Gotcha, HenricK.
Maybe we do. Yeah, maybe we do.
But HenricK, as we age, coordinating online gaming sessions with friends becomes as tricky as herding cats. But hey, after years of leveling up, who really cares? But at this point, when I say get on, I fully expect all my buddies to drop everything, like I'm calling in the final raid of the century. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, let's have a laugh.
Time to drop everything and get on. Come on. I'm not waiting 2 hours for you to eat dinner, go work out, and then show up. If maybe you even do.
It's like almost like gamers always pick up that Cali practice. I don't know if you ever heard of this analogy where when you live in SoCal, HenricK, and they're like, hey, bro, I'm about to roll up to your pad in like 15 minutes. Well, you got to multiply it by times 2.
Yeah.
If he says 15, it's 30. If he says 30, it's an hour.
You got to think about traffic that he's not probably accounting for.
You know what?
And then also, he's probably not even actually ready to go yet.
But I don't even know if even that's fair. They'll use the traffic as the excuse, but I just think people just chillax the days just a little bit here in Southern California. Yeah, I'm calling us all out. We live the good life here. Well, let's go ahead and check out the
Chris,
comments.
have you ever been the person to be like, yeah, bro, I'm outside, but you're like 5 minutes away still?
We've all been there before. We're not proud of it. Just like how everybody's calling out this person, that dusty ass controller. I think, if you're a real gamer though, HenricK, we all still hold on to those controllers that probably should have, hit the garbage can. But
I don't know. I could pull out my controller right now that I use, and it's in pretty good condition, Chris.
I don't know about that. I got a PS4 controllers. I know they sound like jet engines, but I know I upgraded. But I do got some dusty ass controllers. So you know what, Spencer, you better leave his ass alone. And why his hair salute? That is the iconic, the gaming headphone. Headphone. Just like, well, who was it? Jinxie who did it last time. That's probably why he chose to go bald after he got exposed with that that big old dent in his head.
Dent, yeah.
And PS4, and it's almost 2025, is diabolical. Is that true? Is that the case? I mean, if you're still rocking a PS4 now, I mean, is that bad?
Well, you know what? Maybe you should go get that PS5 Pro. I know it's not really necessarily the best value, but maybe it's time.
Oh, stop playing around. Yeah, go invest $700 during your Black Friday. Yeah, right. But you know what? This is like the perfect segue, because with Black Friday and the holidays around the corner, it's officially gamer season to level up those ancient consoles and prehistoric PCs. You know what I'm talking about. Because let's face it, these new games are demanding specs like never before. And let's be real, this gamer's rig is practically a fossil at this point. So check it out. An upgrade is way, way, way overdue.
Yeah, the second you had to start to take off the side panel, I think it's time to let it go.
Dude, that's the top cover. The top cover of the PS4. He had to let it breathe a little bit, or it was going to start sounding like, like those, literally, like you said, a jet engine. You ain't lying. Is that Top Gun? Is that like where you get their sound effects from? I mean, who needs, these people making the sounds for all these iconic movies when they can just roll up with the PS4 and just plug it in and put a mic in front of it?
Take notes, Foley artists. Right?
But GameStop would offer you a bottle cap and a handshake for that rig. Well, do you take it or not? Depends on what kind of
really
bottle
would. They really would. They'd say, I'll give you 25.
Okay, fair enough. PS4 owners will do everything except clean this console. I used to remember my little brother used to be like always ripping our thing apart, getting out the toothbrush and everything, and it doesn't make a difference, man. It's
good
always
on him,
gonna be loud.
Good on him for keeping it clean.
He tried while I'm over here still rocking my dusty ass controller. And then, yes, definitely sounds like F1 racing. That is freaking for sure. But hey, we can't thank you guys, the gamers, enough for always joining us live every Wednesday night at 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, because without your guys' support, this show would not be possible. And we just want to take a moment for anybody that's not following my YouTube channel, go ahead and like, share, subscribe, scan the notification code so you never miss a live show.
Yeah, and go ahead and scan that QR code you see up on the screen right there, and you'll go to my YouTube channel, where we'll talk about memes, games that are coming out, that sort of thing. So come join the conversation.
Hey, you know the drill. So what time is it, HenricK the Wreck?
Oh, yeah, it's time for Pause or Repeat. And we got a good one this week.
Yo, yes we do. So let's get it.
Hey everyone, this is Pause or Repeat. Here we figure out whether a game is really worth your time and money. Today's game is Call of Duty Black Ops 6. This is the series' yearly release for Call of Duty. As such, you can imagine most of it is gonna be familiar if you play the last couple of games. But did they try to at least do anything different this time? Let's go over the gameplay and find out. The gameplay of Black Ops 6 is spread out among 3 different game modes: campaign, multiplayer, and zombies. Campaign is of course a story-driven experience, multiplayer is the player versus player mode with several different game modes, and zombies is 1 to 4 players versus zombies and is also round-based once again. Throughout each mode, the game presents its usual gameplay loop of delivering smooth gunplay with other mechanics dependent on which mode you play. For the campaign, each mission will give you different weapons, and there is actually some meaningful gameplay changes this time around, like having a safe house to go back to between missions, and varied experiences throughout the campaign going from boots on the ground gameplay to open world missions to missions straight out of a spy movie. This is in contrast to the previous games, which, while they also had some varied missions, didn't go to the same extent to deliver unique gameplay experiences, and also didn't have a safe house to explore in between missions. But how did the story fare for the campaign? The story of Black Ops 6 takes place 10 years after the ending of Black Ops 5 in 1991. Despite being the 6th installment for Black Ops, you do not need to necessarily have played the previous games. Operation Desert Storm is in full swing, and after your squad of CIA operatives horribly fail a clandestine mission at the start of the game, they slip into the shadows to uncover the details of a mysterious paramilitary organization named Pantheon. Will they succeed in unraveling the mystery, or will they only have more questions by the end? But now the question still stands. Pause or repeat?
Another year, another Call of Duty, and every time it comes out, the big question is it worth the money, or am I just going to get this on Game Pass now and then cancel next month? What do you think, Chris?
Oh, that's really funny that you say that because, remember when Call of Duty Black Ops 6, I mean, we literally just talked about it like last week's episode where they dropped that, that Twitter announcement and they jumped on quickly and they're like, thanks for making this launch historic. And we were like, wow, this is like something to celebrate. And you nailed it. It's like, yeah, I bet it was. When you've got Game Pass on both the Xbox and PC, you're pretty much just handing out invites like a party favor.
Pretty much, yeah.
So just to kind of remind people of some of the things that they were even saying in that tweet. Remember when they said #1 total players? Well, duh, you basically gave people ways to, play the game, even though you can't find a way to dodge those campers throughout Black Ops 6. The #1 hours played, well, of course, hours are played or through the roof because gamers, let's face it, here in 2024, going into 2025, we will cancel plans. We will ignore texts. We will forget to eat food, for crying out loud, if there's a good Call of Duty release. And come on, every time a Black Ops hype comes out, it's never missed. So we always want to give it a shot, whether our aiming's on point or not.
Yeah, and I think they actually did some different things this time around, And I'm not just talking about the Omni movement, because that is a thing that is definitely different, but you don't necessarily have to actually take part in that if you don't want to. You can still play it kind of like the older Call of Duties, and as long
What
as
do you mean you can't take part in it? It's throughout the whole multiplayer experience.
Well, I mean, yeah, as long as your aim is fine, though, Chris, you're good.
Right, and
you can learn that Omni movement to just elevate the experience.
And I don't even think it's a bad thing. I actually think the omnidirectional movement thing is actually quite a plus. I really thought it would actually kind of kill the experience. I think there's other things about the game that just really kind of pull people away. I mean, like the fact that even in the third to last point that they were saying in that that iconic tweet, they were like, thank you for making this community base that we have, making this historic launch. Well, they were also celebrating the point that it was the #1 total matches ever created during an opening day and an opening weekend. Well, this one's got to be a match trick when you think about it, HenricK, because I don't know about you, but it felt like every match was about like 5 minutes long, and you're probably lucky to even survive past 30 seconds.
That's the whole thing. Call of Duty multiplayer is meant to be pretty frustrating, and then you have a couple games where you're like, yes, I'm on top of the leaderboards, and then you go back to being frustrated. It's just one of those games. It's that mixed match of, you're really happy, then you're really unhappy.
Yeah, right. It feels like it's the fast track to respawn therapy. They got to fix that. They know it. They've already been dropping tweets saying that we're working on a patch update because some of these maps are just so freaking horrendous. It just kind of completely kills the experience. But I got to say, my blood pressure starts rising when I start thinking about why they still can never freaking figure this thing out already. I know you're already gonna start saying your iconic phrase, but I feel like I can swindle you over with this one. The skill-based matchmaking needs to go. I mean, I can't stand this shit, bro. I mean, yeah, we all have the thrill of like stomping noobs out, or even sometimes getting absolutely wrecked myself. I mean, we all like that, but we need a little bit of balance. You know what I'm saying?
So you're
Like,
you're thinking that the approach that X Defiant took with no skill-based matchmaking was better?
I honestly think if they want to go with the skill-based, they got to try to do it along the lines of maybe like, let's say Fortnite, where you can have that extra game mode option where if you want to go towards that route, go for it. But if I just want to be a regular casual gamer and just jump in and sometimes start winning matches and then sometimes start losing matches, it's always like 10 games of just straight shitting on somebody or 10 straight games of just getting my ass kicked. And that's why I can't
You win
stand.
a couple games at the top of the leaderboard, and then you get immediately put with all the unemployment people.
What, you saying that about me? No, I was kidding. But
No, I mean, I appreciate that they've said that they're trying to fix some of the issues. Like, I think the big issue that I've had with the multiplayer is the spawning. Because some of these maps, depending on what mode it is, they're kind of a little too big. Because there's sometimes you'll spawn in and you won't find anyone for a good minute.
Yeah.
That shouldn't happen in this kind of game.
Exactly.
And you'll have other times you spawn in and you die instantly. Come on.
Can we get a little balance here? Because I want to get wrecked and get wrecked. You know what I mean? But I just don't want to feel like I'm sweating it out like I'm training for the Olympics. Like, this is ridiculous. Yeah. And then you know what? Things just couldn't get a little bit weirder. We also got Black Ops 6 Season 1 that is hitting on November 14th with 3 new maps. Hideout, Extraction, and Heirloom. They're all 6 versus 6 or 2 versus 2 if you really want things personal. I believe that's only with the Heirloom map. So, people were hyped for maps like Payback, Supersonic, Skyline. Sure, great names, but these spawns, like you said, they're just out of control. It feels like you're just trying to dance your way out of the wedding. I don't want to be on the floor anymore.
Isn't it so crazy that when Call of Duty games come out with new maps, no one likes them, and then you play them and you're like, I understand why no one likes them, but then they come out with remakes or re-releases of other maps like they did with Nuketown for this one, and everyone's like, yes, this is what we wanted.
Because that's the only map that actually has a good spawn location. It's not that hard to figure it out, so that's the sad part. But I gotta also say too, I gotta pick a bone about this too. Who came up with the idea over there with Activision Blizzard, Treyarch and them, like the recon perk? Like, what are we doing?
Oh, you were one of those people who didn't like that? I thought that was pretty cool.
Dude, that is
maybe I was just taking advantage of it.
You know what, HenricK? You're starting to look like a knockoff version of Superman, man. You think that you can look through walls now? You think you all cool with your X-ray vision? That totally kills the experience. And maybe I feel like that's what kind of killed some of these maps, because when you have that additional add-on, you feel like it feels like a cheat code in a sense.
Well, I see what they're doing. They're trying to make sure people aren't camping, because when you're camping and you're in the corner and then someone spawns in and they see you through the wall just sitting in that corner, well, I'm sorry to say it, but camping's not going to work.
Gosh, it's like that recon perk drove me nuts like crazy. And then I also got to say too, but it seems like it's always the tale of the tape every single year when they do drop a new Call of Duty title, but it's always the weapons they can always never figure out. Like, it's always ARs are the kings of the hill, while the submachine guns are firing packing peanuts. And then why do the pistols somehow steal the show? I mean, I don't understand that.
Yeah, some of those pistols take 3 shots and then you're dead.
Right, it's like a gold tier pistol in Fortnite. It's like, aren't this supposed to be the most realistic game that Call of Duty has dropped? And all of a sudden they do stuff like that and you're like, you're killing me, Smalls. But then you do have some highlights in the game. It's not just about the multiplayer experience. You also got zombies and the campaign mode.
The zombies mode, that's the only mode that the boys have wanted to play with me. But I had fun with them and that. I'm glad it's round based again.
Okay, I'm glad that you just referenced that, because when I have done zombies, it's always been like solo queues, and there's been conversations online, because I haven't had the experience of joining on with friends, like a group like four players in the map together. But some people say that's the way better experience, because sometimes when you go in solo queue, then you can't go after some of those Easter eggs that you want to find in zombies. And sometimes with these maps, you might be stuck there for 3 hours. And I know that's got to be quite devastating when you're playing with a bunch of randoms and you're trying to take it serious and they don't know what the hell they're doing, because you're gonna at least need like 2 of your buddies,
Just
out of the
coordinate,
3
like,
that
hey,
know what
bro,
they're doing.
could you wrangle this last zombie and just have them chase you around so that we can figure this out?
Yeah, exactly. And it takes like way too long to kind of, find the Easter eggs, which I think is that can kind of hurt it a little bit. But I feel like that's only for like a tiny little crowd, for the Call of Duty.
You just got to look up a video for them at that point.
Yeah.
Someone's gonna figure it out day one. That's just how the zombies mode has always been.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But and then another knock that I got to say too is that I know that like more games are becoming live services, but can we just please bring an offline mode for campaign and zombies? I mean, it's just baffling to think that you have to be connected at all times to the server, or if your Wi-Fi goes down, I can't even play the campaign mode. Like,
it's a shame too, because I actually really liked this campaign. The campaign mode in this game, I know it's going to be divisive on whether people like it or not, but the direction they went with the storytelling of having a safe house, and there was even a puzzle at the safe house that stumped me for like 30 minutes to an hour.
You felt like you were playing God of War?
Not even
Uncharted.
that. It's just like I liked that approach to storytelling where they were trying something different. And I was actually having a conversation with someone. It's kind of actually stuff that other games have been doing for a while. So maybe it's time that they actually tried to catch up with that. And even outside of that, though, some of these missions were actually very engaging. There was one mission that was like a horror game. There was one mission that felt like it was straight out of a James Bond movie. And then there's a mission where you're doing like an open world thing. And then there's some missions where you can approach it in like a stealth approach, not even be seen by anyone. I really enjoyed all the variations that they decided to do this year with the campaign.
Yeah, I was quite surprised playing the campaign how many times I was thrown out of my chair with some of those jump scares too. I've never seen so many jump scares in a campaign in my life when it came to Call of Duty Black Ops 6. So that's really, really cool. It keeps you on the edge of your seat. And like you said, you're going to get some of those like traditional missions, like you say, like they're either stealthy or you're just marching forward,
Yeah.
But, there is a lot of like trying to gather what makes all the Call of Duty campaign experience from all of their titles. It really feels like they really did do a really good job. And, that's really kudos towards Raven Software, who focused on the campaign for Call of Duty Black Ops 6. So, yeah, I mean, it's definitely something to not ignore when it comes to the game. But then again, we have to get down to a verdict, Henrik. Is it a pause or repeat? Would you rather have me go first, or would you?
I'll have you go first this time.
I gotta say it's a pause. It's a pause. Absolutely a pause. But if you do have, the Game Pass on Xbox or PC, what are you waiting for? Take advantage, have some fun with it. But like for $70, it's just not for me. There's just too many good games out there that can match that kind of same level experience. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's another new IP that's gonna also challenge it just as much. I know X Defiant wasn't quite there yet, but it's like anybody can kind of copy this model, and if they don't figure it out pretty damn soon, especially with all this cheating that's still going on with the whole multiplayer experience, it's just going to be the same old crap over and over and over again, and I'm just not willing to pay $70 to do that all over again. So I'm calling it a pause.
Yeah, I can definitely agree when it comes to the worth of the game. There's a lot at value, but I wouldn't say it's $70 worth of value.
No.
Game Pass price, hey, that's actually a really great value at that point. But when it comes down to it, what are you going to be playing the most? Probably the multiplayer. And when it comes down to the multiplayer, it has the same issues that a lot of the previous games from the past couple of years have had. I appreciate they're trying to fix it, but my verdict is as it is now. And the verdict is it's a pause.
Right,
because
exactly.
I'm not going to say it's a repeat until they fix some of those things. And if they eventually do, hey, maybe that'll change. Maybe a year from now it'll be different. But as of right now, it's a pause.
Yeah, and we'll have to even see when Black Ops 6 Season 1, kicks off on November 14th, whether that, becomes that like solidified bang where it's like glorified. But right now at this time, as we're just finished reviewing it, You heard the verdict from both HenricK the Wreck and Chris Collins. It's a definite pause from us. But we want to know from you gamers, are you guys vibing with Call of Duty Black Ops 6? Do you think this is like the next greatest installment to the franchise, or were you just a bit let down?
Yeah, or
Let
do you
us
feel like
know.
maybe you want to wait for a sale to grab it with a couple buddies and then jump in and play it?
Yeah, come on, Black Friday, Call of Duty. No,
Yeah.
they probably won't.
Probably not,
They
unfortunately.
won't bring it down to 45. Hey, but we got so much more here left on Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. So, HenricK the Wreck, are you ready to rock and roll?
Oh yeah, it's time to rage. So let's
Hey.
get it.
Hey, let's get it, baby. What's good, listeners? Welcome to Patch Notes, where my co-host HenricK the Wreck and I discuss gaming news, industry talk, and so much more. Let's get it. We're just 2 months from the 2024 finish line, gamers, and if you thought the gaming hype train would slow down, think again, because November's strapping on a set of brass knuckles and coming out swinging with a lineup that will have your backlog crying for mercy, or maybe just your wallet. Just don't leave the gun in the holster and keep shooting yourself in the foot. But we're here to inform you about these beautiful games that are going to be dropping in the month of November. So after months of mega releases, this month's set to deliver a little something for everyone, and from the die-hard joystick warriors to the casual couch commandos. So let's go ahead and get it. So Nintendo's release schedule for the Switch is still in full throttle. No one really knows what the hell is going on. And this month we're finally getting a fresh entry in the Mario and Luigi series, the first since 2015. So in Mario and Luigi Brothership, the two Italian plumbers are hitting the high seas for a brand new adventure, ready to navigate uncharted waters, battle quirky enemies, and probably take a few unintended detours along the way. So if you haven't seen some of the gameplay, let's go ahead and take a look.
Well, there's always a certain level of quality to a Mario game that you can expect, and I'd imagine there's a level of quality to this as well, but this does also feel like a game that you probably are going to want to play with somebody.
Yeah, it definitely does feel like that too. I do like the vibrant colors. It definitely feels like they went with a different artistic approach, compared to some of the last, like we covered Princess Peach's video game, Showtime, and etc. So like I do like that they are trying to switch up the aesthetics a little bit, so I feel like it's definitely promising, but it feels like it's like a It Takes Two kind of style of game.
Yeah.
And so if you're playing it solo, you're kind of like, man, maybe you're actually missing the point that Nintendo wants you to experience. So
It's possible, but we'll have to see when it comes out. It comes out tomorrow, so.
Yeah, exactly. So, it launches exclusively for Nintendo Switch on November 7th. So, hey, what are you waiting for, Nintendo gamers? See, you guys actually got a game after all. See, we've been kind of cloudy. Nintendo's been a little slow. Everyone was making fun of PlayStation. Nah, actually, Nintendo seems like it's been a bit slow. But let's go ahead. We got, really iconic slate of video games that are going to be dropping in November 2024. So, this next one, set in the eerie Chernobyl exclusion zone, Stalker 2 Heart of Chernobyl throws you in a ruthless world where survival means facing down swarms of mutants and dodging deadly anomalies. And expect a wild lineup of enemies and mutants and of every kind of subtype, and each bringing its own unpredictable behavior to keep you on your toes and out of the radiation. So let's go ahead and check out that gameplay.
There's a lot of excitement surrounding this game in particular this month because the original was a sleeper kind of hidden gem for a lot of people. And then when this game was initially going to come out, it had to get delayed because, oh, wow, turns out the developers are from Ukraine and they're in the midst of a conflict. So It's finally coming out. and it's really promising because it looks really good.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the first time we heard about this was almost like 4 years ago. So
Yeah.
to finally have it in our hands or through the cloud gaming services, that is super, super cool and super, super promising. I love, the dark, eerie aspect that this video game is showcasing so far. It feels promising. I can't wait to jump in. And if you gamers want to join along as well, Stalker 2 Heart of Chernobyl launches on PC and Xbox Series XS on November 20th. I feel very, very left out as a PS5 gamer. So that sucks. But, got to do what you got to do, fam. Play on the PC, right? But, we did cover this game, previously, and it's finally here. Only 2 weeks after Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered hits, we're getting a more playful take on Alloy's epic 31st century journey. LEGO Horizon Adventures brings all the charm you expected, delivering a funny, family-friendly twist on Zero Dawn with classic LEGO slapstick and clever interpretations or reinterpretations of Alloy's adventures. So key gameplay features from the main series, like the weak spot targeting, are back, but simplified for that signature LEGO ease. Plus, there's a 2-player co-op mode that lets you buddy up and team up to take down those pesky mechanical monsters, or just like that little mosquito that just tried to get it right in my face right now and try to throw me off as I was just talking right now. Wow, so immersive. Who would have thought? But let's go ahead and take a look.
Maybe this one will have a chance to not be overshadowed by some other big launch, like the Horizon series usually ends up being.
What do people expect, though? Or, what do these publishers and studios expect when they start doing that kind of move where they have a game that's from, the PS3 era, and then they go ahead and they think that, just because we remastered it, we're going to charge it like a full price. It just doesn't work like that. And yeah, I think it pulled under 3,000 players, which is just wow. And does that get that studio a little nervous for the LEGO Horizon Adventures? I don't know. I feel like this is such a cool, quirky, fun experience that they're going for. They are kind of leaving that traditional route, HenricK, of focusing on movie IP and comic books, and actually focusing on a mature fan base, trying to cater for the kids. So we're going to have to find out whether it's going to work or not.
Yeah, and hopefully it does, because, the game does have promise, considering the LEGO games do have a good reputation to them.
Really good reputation.
And actually delivering a unique experience, even when it's based on something. So we'll see.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've played a LEGO game where I go, gosh, this kind of sucked. They're all pretty good, and you have to kind of take into that approach that it's a family friendly experience. You can't be expected that you're playing Elden Ring and you're like, wow, man, where's God mode? I need something a little bit more challenging. But I think it's gonna be a fun experience, and if you want to join along, LEGO Horizon Adventures launches on PS5, PC, and Nintendo Switch on November 14th. So hey, let's go ahead and start segueing into our next topic of conversation. So let's go ahead and break it down, HenricK the Wreck.
In the latest Dragon Age adventure, The Veilguard, gamers can make their hero trans-identifying, and there's even a scene where a character has to atone for misgendering someone by dropping and doing push-ups. That's right.
Yeah, push-ups.
Respect in Thetis just got a little sweatier. The 4th entry in EA's fantasy RPG saga, kicking off way back in 2009 with Dragon Age Origins, is packed with epic quests, magical mayhem, and now mandatory gym time if you slip up on your pronouns.
Yeah.
Let's take a look. We got that.
Yeah, let's go ahead and check out that clip, because it's definitely been circulating across the web.
Shit. They're still holding it. Sorry.
What are you doing?
Pulling a barb.
Oh. Okay.
A barb? Tradition in the Lords of Fortune from one of our old members, Barv. Good guy, but like most of us, his plans went sideways a lot. Bad blood among your crew's not good for morale, but there's not always time for big drawn-out apologies. So when one of us screws up and we know we've screwed up, we do a quick 10 to put it right. Pulling above.
Any reason you can't just apologise?
Sometimes people say, oops, sorry, and hope that fixes it. But they just want to get the whole thing over with. Trust me, I know. But pulling above, you sweat a little. Makes you think about it a little more. Shows the other person you mean it.
What if they mean it when they say they're sorry, though?
And that's the other reason. Some people mess up and get all dramatic. They make it about them. Oh, I didn't mean it right. I'd never do that on purpose. They feel so bad about it that it's on everyone else to smooth it over and make them feel better.
Oh, okay, yes, some people might do that.
Pulling above puts it on the person who screwed up. They made the mess, they fix it, done.
As you can imagine with how the internet is, gamers responded to the latest entry in the fantasy role-playing franchise doing this with the following comments.
Yes, we got plenty of comments, so let's jump right on into it. What a travesty! Elon Musk was very one of the more prominent voices that spoke on the Dragon Age pronoun slip scene that's going viral. The next one that we got here we go.
Oh, man.
Okay, that kind of made me laugh. That's pretty.
Oh,
Yeah, I know.
no.
No more Italian plumber. None of that now. Baldur's Gate 3 is a good example of how to add inclusive content while maintaining a cohesive narrative. You don't forcibly shove messages of current real-world problems down people's throats. Dragon Age Veilguard is a step backwards from what Baldur's Gate 3 did for gaming. Yeah, some people, felt like, better storytelling approach when it came to Baldur's Gate 3. The next comment we got here is Baldur's Gate 3, a vegan friend who knows a lot of delicious plant-based recipes in restaurants with affordable and tasty plant-based food and is always willing to share. Dragon Age Veilguard, that guy who always introduces himself as a vegan and will shriek at you if he sees you eating a steak.
Oh, what a way to introduce the two different games.
Well, I mean, the guy's gonna let you know right on the spot, right? Did the writer really shove the coming out as non-binary to my bigoted parents trope to Dragon Age? Holy shit. And last, in this economy, it's nice to have an excuse not to drop $60 on a new video game. It's almost like these studios are trying to save us money. Oh, wow. So that one scene alone, HenricK, is causing a lot of hysteria and people going, oh my gosh, I just saved myself some money. But then again, real talk, HenricK, is anyone really walking away from this game with a life lesson thanks to that scene? And are players who roll their eyes at social justice themes suddenly going to see the light?
Well, let me preface this. I have no problem with representation in games. I'm not someone who's like, the second that there's anything quote-unquote woke,
I know, you're
I'm
like,
out.
take the discount.
I'm
No.
not like that. I'm like,
Yeah.
let's see what they do. This is an example where it's not done well because anyone who's listening to this scene or watching it, they're going to tune out. The second that you started going on a tangent explaining why it needs to be done this way, you've lost them. Maybe you could have just left it at, my bad, let me go do this push-up, and then that's it, Maybe you have the people who want to learn about that, the reasoning why, maybe drop a little clue in like a note or something as to why they did that, and not have a whole 2-minute scene explaining why you did it and why it's important to do it that way and handle it that way, because you're just going to lose people. That's all it comes down to.
Because when you do make a pronoun slip, when it does happen in the real world, it's really like, oh, sorry, and then you just go about your day. And you don't go off, like you said, like go and sweat it out. That's like me, or let's say you're like a Washington Commanders fan, and you're rocking like an old jersey, and you're rocking, the Washington Redskins, and you show up to the stadium, and then you're about to go through the metal detector, and they're like, oh, we don't go by that name no more. Drop down and give me 10 before you walk in with the metal detectors. Like, what kind of culture does that tell? Like, how does that point even get across? And so I feel like, honestly, like, people are so sick and tired of this clumsy, preachy political messaging. And I'm just wondering if it's doing more harm than good, because this scene feels like it was plucked out straight out of a 2024 undergrad gender studies class. It's just like, because think of it like this, HenricK. People got to understand, let alone, it's in a fantasy setting. divorced from the real world. So like when you do stuff like the Bob. He was like, oh, I need the Bob. And, we want to carry on his transphobic tradition and how he screwed up. And we want to do push-ups because that's how he corrected himself. Like, what? Like, you don't even hear that even in, like, folklore. Sometimes, you hear that there was people that were non-binary. Sometimes, you see that in, like, Shakespearean work, let's say. Or, some people might argue you see a little bit of that in Greek and Norse mythology, whatever. But, like, this, it's just like, come on, man. I just don't see how that's a win for that community.
It doesn't help. Because, like you were saying, the whole setting of the game is a dark fantasy. Probably people are more worried about surviving in that world than anything else. When there's horrible monstrosities out there that are just wanting to kill you at any chance they can. And I get it. You want to make sure that people understand that it's important to gender people properly. But this isn't the way to do it. This isn't the way to properly get that message out there, because you lose people the second you start preaching to them, and all they're gonna get away from this is, is the whole point of the message to just be like this, to just degrade someone the second that they make a mistake.
Yeah.
Is that just what anyone's gonna do in real life? I hope people don't do this to people.
Yeah, that would be a bit cringy. Like you're in Starbucks and you're like, uh-oh, there's another guy.
It makes people feel like maybe this would happen to them if they did this to someone in real life, and that doesn't have to happen.
Like, why is that guy so swole?
Yeah.
He's got a lot of pronoun slips while I'm looking over here like a top ramen noodle. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, I must be doing a really good job.
And it doesn't help the game either, because this probably caused some people to not respect the game, and if they had a pre-order in, they might have pulled their pre-order because of it.
Yeah, absolutely good point. And it's
Even
also
though I'm sure this scene, because we haven't played it yet, but I'm sure this scene is such a small snippet of how the game actually is.
yeah. Oh, absolutely. And it's also like we highlighted even last week too, like some people were all upset about, the Harris campaign even making their own Fortnite map. Who freaking cares? I'm still playing it every day. I'm getting like 3 levels up every single time I jump in, into that map. So it's been a blessing on the gaming aspect. But then also at the same time though, it wasn't shoving it in your face. You actually had to go and find that map to go and play it compared to this. And so that's why I think it completely misses the mark. And I think it actually does more damage than good. But that's where like people go. You want to play video games to escape, not to feel like you're like, oh, here we go again, like another cutscene that I can't get away from. But what I will say that I think is a really cool perk that Dragon Age Veilguard did is that they give you the opportunity to be a male, female, or a trans, and then they really kind of did something very, very different that I haven't seen in video games, where they do have the choices in the dialogue, right, where you get to choose, and some of it will be geared towards the trans community if you want to go down that story dialogue direction. So I think that's that's kind of the freedom that you get when you play video games, and I think that's really, really cool. So there are some wins, but then like this stuff you just go, gosh, man, I almost want to be like, I feel like it's that V8 commercial, those old ones. It's like you smack them in the forehead and you go, you should have had a V8. Like, no, you're not thinking straight. Like, you need a Snicker. This is not it. But we want to know from you gamers, did you feel like this cutscene alone definitely misses the mark, or do you feel like this is a powerful message that it is sending? Let us know.
Yeah, and we will eventually cover the game, not too long from now, but we'll eventually get to it in a pause or repeat segment. But moving on, we do have some spicy news. People getting up in arms about a different game.
Yeah,
in regards to its performance.
And really, dude, I was very, very surprised at how this game started popping off, especially with, like we were just talking about, right? Dragon Age, the Veilguard barely out of the gate. You got Call of Duty Black Ops 6 fresh off the launch pad. So you think one of them would be dominating the Steam charts? Well, guess again, because a surprise contender just stole the spotlight. That is the open beta for Monster Hunter Wilds, as you can see from the charts. I mean, this is it feels groundbreaking. I mean, while the game is getting loads of love, players are struggling to even get it to run, though. That's the thing. So the Monster Hunter subreddit is now flooded with posts about bizarre performance issues, including a spooky glitch that's turning both hunters and monsters into blocky PS1-style creatures. Who knew that pixelation horror was making a comeback? So
Maybe
let's go ahead
it
and
was
start.
scarier than Fear the Spotlight.
Actually, you know what, HenricK, you're right. It was. It actually was a lot scarier than Fear the Spotlight. But let's go ahead and dive into those reactions, following the Monster Hunter beta's performance issues. And so, yes, as you can see right here, I think I might have to get a refund for my pre-order.
What is that?
I think kind of people are missing I know, what is that, first of all? And it does kind of look horrifying. If I saw that in the game and it just like randomly the graphics changed to that and then changed to like perfect clear, I'd be like, what did I just see? Am I hallucinating?
Yeah,
what
really.
is going on? But I think, it is funny to see that there's over 2.5 thousand upvotes on this one image. And I think, is he joking or is he not? I mean, it is a beta after all, right?
Yeah, I mean, you have to expect some issues and glitches in a beta, right? The game's not finished.
Yeah, he said refund my pre-order. That's hilarious. But the guy goes, wow, this is the long one. Let's get it going. Game can barely run on a 3060 Ti. How is this acceptable? So this is how it follows. Game can barely reach 60 frames per second on the lowest setting with DLSS on ultra performance. How on earth is that acceptable for a modern video game? Not to mention the game looks disgustingly grainy and blurry. I thought maybe this was to do with the low graphics settings, so I was testing. Disregarding the playable frame rate, I upped all the graphics settings to max to see if that would fix the issue. Bar the textures no longer looking like N64 GoldenEye, the game was still horrifyingly grainy. How does Capcom expect people to play their game when the only way to play the game above 45 frames per second without lowering everything to the lowest setting is to buy $500 plus GPU? Yeah, right. Or get that PS5 Pro for $700. Not even mentioning the need to upgrade the CPU as well. I'm not doing that for one game when this graphic card can still barely basically run every new game released at high graphics way above 60 frames per second while also looking 10 times better than Monster Hunter Wilds. Really disappointed, as Monster Hunter is one of my favorite series of all times, but I'm not going to splash over $800 on a whole new PC just to play one game when this PC is still perfectly capable of playing every other new modern game to a very high standard. What do you say to that, HenricK?
Yeah, it's becoming a trend that a lot of the new games, when they get either ported over to PC or just developed for PC in general, the optimization that they put in the game, the effort they put towards it is a little lacking because they're thinking, well, maybe the game only runs natively at like 45 frames per second for the average user, maybe 30. But if they want more than that, they'll just have to use the AI upscaling technology that their graphics card comes with, like DLSS, all that, the frame generation, all the stuff that NVIDIA and AMD are working on to deliver better experiences to the gamers. But that sucks to have to rely on hardware solutions to something that could be easily fixed if the developers just spent more time actually optimizing the game.
Yeah, and HenricK, I would say don't lose hope now, man. It's not like they're pulling a CD Projekt Red move where they drop a game that's just dog wet on day one, with just all kinds of
it's
just
still in
problems.
beta.
It's in beta, right?
Could
So
be
they
fixed. The jury's
exactly.
still out.
And, clearly the message is being, transcended very loud because, get another comment here that says, it's over for my 1660 Super. And that guy goes, I'm tired, boss. Yeah, he wants to tap out. He's like, I can't do it no more. And then you also get another comment here that says, the recommended system requirements state a 4060 for 1080p, 60 frames per second with frame generation enabled. It does not inspire hope. That's effing wild. Yeah, I was saying keep holding on. I think there is hope, okay? I'm not going to give up on it now. I think it could be promising, as they should. And another comment that follows up by saying, according to their own system requirements, it won't render natively at 1080 pixel on any hardware in existence. They just completely cut out any optimization and are 100% reliant on upscaling. It's a joke, one that hopefully falls flat. Imagine this becoming the new industry norm. So, HenricK, for anybody that doesn't really understand what that gentleman or gal or is saying on the other end of that subreddit form, what is he trying to express that, gamers might need to realize?
He's just saying that it's becoming more and more common that games come out not optimized to run well on lower end hardware up to higher end hardware. And the developers are basically just saying, well, you guys have the technology in your graphics cards to run games at a lower resolution, and then the graphics card presents it to you at the resolution that you're intending to run it at, which
Yeah,
means you're getting more performance essentially by doing that. And the graphics card is compensating for any lack of optimization that's done by the developers.
Yeah, exactly. And they really should start testing these games before they release. Someone needs to test the game at least 4 months prior to launch on all systems it's available on so that they can optimize the game's performance by the time it launches. It's unacceptable for games to keep releasing in this state with the guy going, I don't think that people understand that, don't seem to get your joke, but I enjoyed it. Yeah, I think, some people are clearly furious about it. Some people don't realize that it is a beta after all, HenricK. And so that begs the question, when are gamers finally going to realize that our fancy electronics are basically prehistoric fossils waiting to glitch out? And while we cheer for groundbreaking new game tech, it's also breaking our PCs. So what the hell's up with that, HenricK?
Well, I would hope that this isn't going to become a trend, but unfortunately, it does kind of seem like it's becoming a trend that optimization is flying out the window, and the development team is no longer focusing on that because it's probably not worth their time, as they see that a lot of people are running. I believe the Steam survey says now that the most common GPU is a 3060, meaning that's a
Yeah.
card with ray tracing and also DLSS, and I believe also actually a frame generation, meaning that's a card that can really compensate for a lot of issues that are coming about by not optimizing a game. And we keep seeing it. It's unfortunate. It's a thing that is becoming a trend, and I hope it doesn't in the next year maybe become more of a trend because it's seeming that way. But at the same time, this is a beta. We got to temper our expectations for it being a
Damn,
beta.
HenricK, I almost want to cry because, I just feel like my PC can only operate Google Documents now. Oh, God, I don't know what I can do. This is just hurts. I mean, why do electronics always have to be the most obsolete shit ever? It's always every 3 or 4 years you got to upgrade, and it just it's tough to be a gamer sometimes. But then we
Yeah.
got to celebrate new game tech like this. But then again, what do you think, gamers? I mean, is this something that, can they fix it by the time, the game is officially released on game day?
Hopefully this game doesn't have the same sort of issues that Dragon's Dogma 2 had because it's running the same engine. So hopefully they've figured that out by now.
Yeah, that's true. And, it kind of is like that same discourse that you hear sometimes with Unreal Engine 5 games too, where they're like, hey, there's still
They're
the kind of same
stuttering.
issues. Yeah, exactly. And why can't we fix this? And I thought we were supposed to celebrate change. It's come on, guys, give it time. Not everybody's perfect. But we want to know from you, the gamers, would this be something that, if you saw this, would this stop you from pre-ordering the game? Or do you have faith that it will actually fulfill its goal by fixing all what was wrong about the beta experience? Let us know what's good. But hey, we're just going to start to have some fun a little bit. Actually, it's quite a dark theme. Who the hell chose it? No, I'm just kidding. This is the Reddit people that are speaking. Go ahead and break it down, HenricK.
Yeah, Reddit's diving deep again, this time with a thread on the darkest moments in gaming that have left everyone's brains permanently scarred. And as you can see here, we did cover up the moment in The Last of Us with our
Don't
faces.
report us. We're not promoting violence, okay? We are blocking those scary moments.
Well, from nightmare fuel cutscenes to plot twists that hit like a sledgehammer, players are sharing the game moments they'll never unsee. Brace yourselves. This is one rabbit hole you'll need therapy to climb out of.
Yeah,
And of
so let's go
course,
ahead.
We got the comments.
Yeah, man, let's go ahead and definitely check them out. Sorry, I definitely kind of cut you off there. I'm sorry, Henrik.
You're good.
Well,
You're
let's
good.
go ahead and get into the darkest things you've seen in gaming. Max Payne's literal dead bloody baby in the crib during the prologue mission. Can't wait to see how Remedy does with the remakes of both Max Payne and Max Payne 2. Will they keep that scene, Henrik?
I wouldn't be surprised if they cut that out. That's pretty dark.
Really? Really?
But
Come
hopefully
on,
not.
man.
I'm sure people would be really mad if they didn't.
It's a
keep it in.
rated M game for a reason. Yeah, that stuff is cringy. It's just like when you watch a movie and you don't want to, remember The Punisher when they got, pliers and he's like ripping out the nose piercing, from his nose with pliers. You're like watching, you're like, oh God, no, like this. And I get it. Bloody baby, never cool, right? But we've all watched Game of Thrones and we all, gonna have people out there that are gonna go, that's like one of the best series out there today. They do some pretty cringy, pornographic, violent stuff too on that end. So really, would that be the smart move, Henrik? That would be moving, towards that thing that I think people hate. Like, no, don't get correct now. Don't get with the social norms now. We're trying to, we want to sympathize with Max Payne. I think that's why it works so well, why people want to see, a remake of this iconic game. But let's go ahead and go into the next comic. That dude who wants to get crucified on live camera in Cyberpunk 2077, bro, I almost yelled, what? After finishing that mission. That was quite crazy, right, Henrik?
Yeah, it's a dark mission, and there's a bit of build-up to it, but then they all of a sudden thrust you into the moment of you're the one crucifying him if you did the right dialogue options.
Yeah, right. And you go, gosh, talk about dark writing. In Specs Ops The Line, firing white phosphorus rounds onto enemy soldiers, not realizing that there are a large group of civilians sheltering with them. Seeing the aftermath, including a burnt alive mother holding her dead child, was pretty dark. Yeah.
Which I'm pretty sure using white phosphorus on civilians is a war crime.
Right,
by the Geneva Convention. So...
Well, I think that's kind of the point that Spec Ops The Line was trying to show, like something that's the horrific nature of war, know? And I think, sometimes that could be powerful, or let's say also this one. Let's be real. The whole quest that leads to that hanging in The Witcher 3 is pretty effed up.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that?
With the guy?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what's good. If you played it,
and he's not a great character in terms of he's not a good guy either, but it's still messed up that it ends up happening to him.
Yeah, or it's just some of the, the guillotine scenes in the Assassin's Creed series, they've had some pretty moments over there too as well. In Fallout 1, there's a common food item called the iguana on a stick. During a side quest in Junktown, you discover that the meat is not iguana, it is human. Though most of the Wastelanders are unwitting cannibals, so later Fallout games have strange meat for sale at some vendors. But is that the darkest moment? I mean, I know when I'm playing the video game, if I need HP, I'm going to eat it up. I'm going to eat it up, Henrik. I don't even think about those dark moments. I don't know if that one was one of those things that phased me, you know what I'm saying, compared to some of these other comments. I'm like, yeah, that scarred me. Did that scar you? Did you feel like you had to run to the next city on 1 HP? Was your merit
no, I don't think so.
being checked playing Fallout? You're like, nah, you're going to eat the strange meat if you need to eat the strange meat.
Yeah,
and
it's just survival at that point.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like finding your daughter's separate limbs in that effing jars is pretty dark in Resident Evilville. Dude.
Yeah, that's kind of glazed over, honestly, that moment.
Yeah, I kind of forgot about that until I just read it. Thanks for scarring my brain. Oh my gosh, I totally forgot about that moment. But HenricK, what's the most haunting moment that you've encountered in a game that still gives you nightmares, and why do you think it gets scarred your brain for life? I'm wondering.
Well, I mean, this is kind of a hard question because I can't necessarily think of something that's giving me nightmares specifically.
Ooh,
but
really?
Something that comes to mind
really okay.
is the game from 2003 that Rockstar did, Manhunt. That game is incredibly dark. And for those who don't know what it's about, you play as a death row inmate who's forced to participate in snuff films. And so there's a lot of violence, a lot of really messed up execution scenes. Yeah, it's really dark. And it's a good game, but you can also see why Rockstar hasn't wanted to touch that series.
Yeah. They're like probably want people to kind of forget about. No, who knows? Maybe it might get revisited at one point. It's it's all a matter of time whether people just demand it. It's like Bully, right? People. I don't think people really care for all those years.
You know
and
what
then all of
other
a sudden
game
the hype
people
got
have
out.
demanded for the longest time is Bloodborne, Kristen. What has Sony done? Nothing.
Nothing.
No.
Yeah, that's very true. I feel like I keep saying this game over and over and over again, but I do remember when that game first came out and when everybody experienced it for the first time. It was the talk of the town, and that's The Last of Us Part 2. That Joel killing still is scarred in my head, and just knowing that 2025 is approaching and we're slowly getting closer to the cinematic adaptation of what is to come.
True, yeah.
Do I really want to experience that all over again? No, and but I'm also like, I wonder how they're gonna do it. I'm really curious. I wonder if they're gonna like actually show the violent intent that Abby had, because like in the video games, you felt it. Like I'm even thinking about it right now. I'm kind of getting cold, and I can feel my hair like kind of like rising up, because like you felt this, like it was like the first time in a long time you felt like you felt like that was family. You know what I'm saying? And you're killing off the main character like right off the bat, like the first 25, 30 minutes of the game, and you're like, wait, what? This is Ella's
I
game
would
now?
say that the audience for The Last of Us that has not played the games, you're in for something wild.
Man, dude, tell me about it,
You're
man.
gonna have a real shock.
Dude, that was crazy. And I mean, and also like on a note too, I just got to say this. Like, have you been watching The Penguin on HBO?
No, I have not.
Oh man, it's a fantastic series, and I don't know if anybody saw like the latest episode, but like somebody uses a golf club. Okay,
Oh,
all right, and
flashback.
there was a bit of a flashback, that's for sure. But I gotta say, The Last of Us did it so well compared to The Penguin. Kind of started to go into that like weird like hyper realism, because how many blows? I hate shows where you can take so many blows. You know what I'm saying? Like, what the hell are we doing? This guy just got whacked over and over and over again with a golf club. I don't know too many people that can get whacked over and over and over again
you
with a
go
golf club and then can get up.
commonly, so like you know how sturdy those clubs are.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like, come on, how many people can get up from that? Like, compared to The Last of Us, you felt that. You know what I'm saying? It was like all it took was like that one good hit, and you're like, holy crap. Okay, I think we get the point now. So, I mean, sometimes, some of these shows like HBO, hopefully you nail it right. Or don't do one of those scenes where they like pull away. Like I feel like even that would totally completely miss the mark. But then again, we'll have to see what's good. But gamers, is there a game that we're completely missing that's like, dude, that was one of the darkest moments in video game history that's scarring my cranium for life? Let us know what's good. But man, we can't thank you, the gamers, for always tuning in live every Wednesday night at 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, because without your guys' support, this show would not be possible. And while we're here at the tail end of the show, I'm going to show you guys my QR code. Go ahead and like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you guys never miss a live show.
Yeah, and go ahead and scan that QR code on your screen as well, and you'll go to my YouTube channel and go join the conversation in any of the videos, because we're just having fun.
Yes, we are. And we also want to take a moment to let you, the gamers, know, don't freak out. We are actually not going to be on air next week. We got prior obligations. You know what I'm saying? Somebody is going to a wedding. So, very exciting. HenricK. Yeah, right. So we will not be on air next week, but you will see us 2 weeks from now. And trust me, we will have a lot of things to discuss in the gaming universe just before the Thanksgiving holiday break. So
absolutely,
definitely make sure that you are subscribing to both of our channels so you are well informed when we go live next time around. But hey, enjoy yourself, play a lot of video games, stay up all night, drink all the Monster Red Bull energy drinks that you need, stay up until 4 a.m. There's a lot of great video games